Hey guys, welcome to lesson 4.5 in consumer math. We are going to read the information today because there's really not that much and it's good information, okay? We're talking about balancing your budget. The goal when you balance a budget, so now you already know how to make a budget and you know how to be specific in your budget, right? You know, like not just clothes, but where your clothes coming from, or not just work, but exactly what kind of work, or different stuff like that, right? So your goal for your budget though is that your total expenses at the end of the month or at the end of the year, whenever you do your budget, equal your total income. Okay, so that means that for all the money that is coming in, you have the money for your expenses. Obviously, if you have more income than expenses, even better, because you can save more money. But remember, savings is in your budget, okay? So savings is an expense in your budget. You always want to save money, obviously. You don't want to be spending everything that you bring in. However, here's the thing. The reason why we say to balance your budget, you need to have total expenses equals total income. Because what happens if you have more expenses than income? You're spending more money than you're bringing in at the end of the month or whatever. You're not going to have the money to pay your bills. You're not going to have the money to pay, your lights or your credit card bill or whatever it is, and then something's going to get taken away from you. Okay, so yes, your income can be bigger than your expenses, and then you can put that into savings, but your expenses should never be bigger than your income. And that's what we talked about before, guys, with credit cards. A lot of times people get credit cards and apply for credit cards because they get into a habit of having more expenses than their income. And you can't live like that. Okay, you have to look at what kind of job you have and say, what kind of things can I be buying? And then change your budget according to that. What they're going to show you in this lesson is they're going to show you that if your expenses are starting to be more than your income, that you're going to have to lower the amount of savings that you save. That's very true, but be careful. You can't say, okay, I made 5,000 lumps this month. Hopefully you make more than that, right? I made 5,000 lumps this month. I need to spend 5,000 of it. Sorry, I had to lower down my budget to 0. Okay, well, if you do that every month, because here's the thing, budgets get away from you. If you don't keep up with it, it's a lot of work. And if you don't keep up with it, you can be going 6 months without saving anything. And then what happens if an emergency comes? What happens if your car breaks down, your house floods, some kind of storm comes, your kid gets sick, you get sick, right? The school asks for money that you weren't expecting. Different stuff like that happens all the time. And if you don't have anything in your savings because you build a habit of spending everything that you bring in, then you're going to be hurting yourself. What if you do really well with your savings for months and months and months, and then you get into the habit of spending more than you have? Then you're going to be cutting into your savings. That savings should stay there and not be touched until something big comes up, like an emergency, or that you're ready to buy something that you've thought about, okay? So here we go, let's read it. Planning a workable budget is a matter of trial and error. Once the income and expenses are totaled, the next step is to see that the sum of the expenses equals the income. Okay, so when you're estimating your budget, this is how you balance it as well, okay? Before all this stuff even happens. This procedure is called balancing the budget. To balance the budget may require decreasing the amounts budgeted in certain areas, certain categories, finding new sources of income, or deciding what to do with income over and above expenses. So the other thing that they say is sometimes you're gonna have to search for other ways of income, okay? That's why some people they have their job, but they also sell things. That's their extra income. Some people get 2 jobs, right? So it just depends. If you don't have expenses that you can get rid of, here's the thing. What if you guys have kids? You can't get rid of those expenses. So somebody in your family might have to get a second job so you can get more income to cover those expenses. Look what it says in the second paragraph. Mr. Chin, whose income and estimated expenses are given in model problem 1, had estimated expenses greater than his income. Model problem number 2 indicates his solution to the problem, but then provides a surplus of $150. Mr. Chin decided to divide the $150 by putting $100 more into savings and $50 to a missionary. His new budget, a balanced one, is what he settled upon as a yearly trial budget, realizing that experience might require revisions. Okay, so when you have a budget, okay, you say that this is gonna be my budget for the year. That's called a trial budget. Trial meaning like you're trying it because maybe it's not gonna work. Maybe you're gonna have to adjust some things. Maybe 1 month you have a big emergency and then all of a sudden you have to adjust the months after that to make up for that money. Then it says in the third paragraph, Mr. Chin then divided the budgeted amount for each category by 12 to get a monthly trial budget. The validity of the regularly recurring expense estimates, such as food, can be checked and revised if necessary within 3 or 4 months. Other items, such as transportation, which involve repair costs, will take longer to test. Okay, so he's going to see if this budget works for him. Look at model problem number 1. Mr. Chin has estimated his annual income as $20,500. His expenses are housing, so let's write this up here. He's gonna get $20,500. Okay? His expenses are housing, I'm just gonna put an H for $4,800, food for $3,800, transportation, $3,400. This is for a year, you guys, okay? That's why it sounds so high. Savings, $1,200. Tithe, $2,050. That makes sense because he took 10% of his income. Education, $2,200. Utilities, $2,600. Utilities are like your water and your lights. And clothes, $1,300. Okay, let's try to see if we can, there we go. Okay, by how much do his estimated expenses exceed his income? Okay, so you're gonna add all that up, right? You're gonna add it up and you're gonna get a total of $21,350. Uh-oh, that's a problem. $21,350. He only made $20,500. When you subtract those two, he had $850 excess expenses, and that's your answer, okay? But it's not your solution to what you're gonna do for spending $850 more than you actually bring in. So let's see what his solution is on number 2. In attempting to balance his budget, Mr. Chin decided to keep his old car another year. Okay, so he's gonna have less for transportation now because he's not gonna buy a new car, thus reducing his transportation budget by 1,000. Okay, so that means that you can do what? He's gonna reduce it by 1,000, so now he is gonna be, look at that. If he reduces this by 1,000, now it's $20,350. So now he has $150 extra, okay? How much extra income does he now have? I just told you, okay? You subtracted 1,000 from what, 21,350, and then you subtract 20,500 minus 20,350 because now your income is bigger and you have a surplus of $150, okay? And just like I said in the text, he gave 100 of that to his savings and 50 of it to a missionary to help, which is a good way to do it. Look at the exercises. It says, do exercises 1 through 4 by using Dalton's budget, round all answers to the next highest dollar. So they don't want centavos, they just want the next dollar. Okay, next higher dollar, put it on. So on number 1, it says find the total monthly expenditure in each category. So you're just adding each of them, okay? And you can add them right there on the table. Well, I guess you can't because it's in your book. Okay, you can add them on your paper. And then just write contributions, etc., blah, 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 all your totals. And then you start to answer the questions for those. So let me know if you have any questions. I looked through here and I was thinking, should I walk you through it? But I don't want to because these are real life situations. If I don't need to walk you through them, I don't want to kind of baby you with it because it's good for you to analyze and think, okay, like we're dealing with real money here. What are they asking me to do? Okay, so that's it for the lesson today. Have a great day, you guys. Well, I'm back. Even though I said hi, bye, have a good day. I'm back because I was just looking at 4.6 and I realized that 4.6 is like super fast, which means that you might as well learn it now and not have to watch a video tomorrow, okay? So go over really quickly to 4.6, you guys, so I can teach you tomorrow's lesson as well. It says, once a trial budget has been established and balanced, so So now you make a budget for the year, right? And you balance the total expenses, total income. It must be adjusted over a period of several weeks or months, depending upon the period it is designed to cover. This adjusting is done by comparing the trial budget to the actual expense item by item, okay? So what that means is, what they're gonna teach you is exactly what I was telling you for 4.5. You go through, so what you do, I'm like, you make your trial budget, but then like in a month or two, if it's for the year, or in a couple weeks, if it's for monthly or whatever, you look at it and say, am I really only spending that much money? Okay, if I say that I'm gonna spend only $200 on clothes for the month, what did I spend last month? I spent $250, puchica, okay. Well then this month, did I spend $200 on clothes? No, I'm already have spent $220. Okay, well that means that budget of $200, something's going wrong with it, okay? Either you need to like control yourself with your clothes, or you're saying that you need more than you budgeted for it. You budgeted too low, okay? So what they're gonna say for the solution for right now is to balance that budget again, to adjust the budget. You are gonna take it out of savings, okay? So look at model problem number 1, because obviously I'm not gonna write all this on the board. But this is what they're saying to do. Look at model problem number 1. Adjust the budget by increasing or decreasing savings to compensate for the difference between the total actual expenses and the amount budgeted for the expenses. Round up to the next higher dollar. So, okay, look, Sadi and Jose, look at this part right here for your budget part, right? Said you budgeted $2,700 for tithe, but you gave $2,800. You budgeted $8,900 for housing, but you spent $9,080. You budgeted $3,600 for food, but you actually spent $3,650. See how important it is to go back and look at how your budget is doing, because a lot of times we spend more than we think we're gonna spend. You budgeted $2,500 for utilities, but you spent $2,476. You budgeted $3,900. Oh, so you went down on utilities. You budgeted $3,900 for transportation, but you spent $4,200. Okay, education, you budgeted less and spent more. Leisure, which is like vacations, you budgeted less, you budgeted and spent less, $100 less, so that's good. However, now it's gonna affect your amount of savings. You budgeted for $2,500, but you ain't got $2,500 left to put in savings, okay? Because you've been overspending your budget. So what are you gonna have to do? They add up all the budgeted amounts. So add up everything that you budgeted, including, without the savings. You do not include the savings, okay? So you add tithing, housing, food, utilities, transportation, education, leisure. Okay, and they got $26,825, right? Then you find what you actually spent, tithing to leisure. You spent $27,470. So that means you went over budget by what? Well, $27,470 minus $26,825 is $645. That's how much you went over budget. Well, where are you gonna get that money? Out of savings. You can't put $2,500 in savings because you spent $645 of it, so you have to do $2,500 minus $645. Okay, so it's all right here. What did you do? You add up your budgeted, you add up your actual, you subtract those. You found out you went $645 over budget, which has to come out of savings, so you minus it from savings. And that's the exact same thing you're gonna be doing in your lesson today, okay? You're taking whatever you went over budget on out of savings. Let me know if you have any questions on both of those lessons. Bye.